My biggest fear is that I find a guy and we fall in love and we get married and he finally sees me without my hijab, right? And then the first time he sees me without it, he's like disappointed as fuck. He's like, that's what you've been covering? Put it back on.
Assalamu alaikum. It's your brother Haqq Islam, host of the Oasis podcast. This week we have a very special guest, Nina Kharoufeh, who is also, what makes her so special and breaking cultural barriers is that she's a boxer and a comedian. Nina, welcome to the Oasis.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure indeed. But you know what? Whenever I go online to read about you, there's a lot of stuff online about her.
Oh, God.
Both in boxing and comedy.
Yeesh.
But they always also call you an activist. And that's kind of sad because you're Palestinian.
I am.
So you're actually you're active in fighting for your humanity.
Yes.
You know. Anyway, we're gonna move on because I just don't like that title.
I have my reservations about being called an activist because I think activists deserve a lot of praise. They do a lot of good work. I just don't feel like I deserve the title activist. You know, I'm not out here organizing. I'm not, I go to protests a lot and I show support and I'm very vocal about what's going on out in Palestine, but I don't think I deserve the title activist because I do know activists. I know how hard they work and all the things they go through. I don't do that.
And you're
So I feel
literally
like,
fighting for your humanity.
Yeah.
It's not like this is something.
it's an honorable title I
Exactly.
don't feel like I deserve.
Respect. You know, so the first question we always ask everyone is, what was your path to Islam?
Well, I was born in a family that was Muslim and Arab, so it kind of just came along with life. Both my parents are Muslim. Growing up,
Where were you
although-
born?
I was born in Jersey.
Mhm.
Although my parents weren't necessarily super religious, I did grow up with like Muslim parents, and they kind of just like taught us what it was like to be Muslims when we were little. They never really like forced it on us. When I say us, I'm talking about my siblings and I. But it was always really interesting to me. It's kind of just the way of life. And growing up, I chose to wear the hijab. I remember I was really young, and my father told me not to wear it.
What was that?
He was like, "You're gonna get judged, and you're gonna get bullied in school." And it was I wore it young, and he was like, "You're too young to wear." And I was like, "I just want to see how it feels." So I wore it, and it just kind of stuck with me. I was like, "Oh, this isn't that bad." Everyone makes it such a big deal, I was like, "Oh, it's nothing." And then 14, 15 years later, I'm still wearing it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Boxer and comedian.
Yeah, that came way after.
Okay, let's talk about that process. How did it happen?
Yeah, so
And you choose which came first.
comedy came first. So, I mean, they came kind of around the same time, but I grew up in Jersey, and I went back and forth a lot. I visited Palestine a lot growing up, but majority of the time was definitely spent here in the States.
Let's talk about those visits. What was it like going back home?
Ugh, I love it. It's the best. I really feel like I'm home. I feel like there's something missing when I'm not there. When you get there, you just kind of feel like, oh, this is where I belong.
It's such a very special culture, such a historic culture.
Yeah.
The food, the clothes, the experience, I want you to share some of it.
I mean, it's definitely a little hard right now, given what's going on in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. But aside from the turmoil that's going on there and the genocide, Palestine is a beautiful country. It's just the vibe is something I've never experienced before. It really is called the Holy Land for a reason. You just feel like a breath of fresh air when you're out there. It smells different.
It does, and I've been there. I
Yeah.
visited Al-Aqsa Mosque,
Oh wow, amazing.
and the food is
Oh, so
yeah,
good.
yeah. I'm provoking you. I'm trying to get you to talk about.
It was good. I went a few years ago. I did comedy there.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we did a little tour. We went to Jerusalem, Bethlehem. We did a few shows in Ramallah. And I forgot there was another town we did a show, and I forgot where it was. Oh, Jerusalem. And it was so much fun.
So let's get back to the original story.
Yes, growing up.
Yeah, growing up, comedy. What hit you?
I when I got to middle school, high school, I joined the drama club. Not surprising because I'm a drama queen, but it was a lot of fun. So I definitely got into the arts early on. And then when I went to college at the arts, and I studied filmmaking and media.
Which university?
I went to Montclair State.
Yeah.
And I went to College of the Arts, and I got a bachelor's degree in media and a minor in filmmaking. So while I was in school, I started working at SiriusXM and was a producer there. And that was a lot of fun. But while I was working at SiriusXM, I became friends with a lot of comedians. My host, Dino Waydella, was a comedian. I became friends with Godfrey. I became friends with a lot of comics. I was like, oh, this sounds like a lot of fun. So I remember one Wednesday night, I did an open mic, and I did so terrible. But it was a lot of fun. But I realized how hard it is. So then I took up comedy classes. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to actually like do it.
Comedy
I need
classes.
to learn.
You know, one of the things that we try to do here is when we talk to people who are breaking barriers, we try to give the road to breaking barriers, because there's so many young people out there who's coming from a Muslim family. They want you to be a traditional worker. Like, you know, when are you going to become a doctor? When are you going to become a lawyer? When are you going to become a scientist? You know, when are you going to fly to outer space? Something crazy, you know, not crazy, but, you know, our parents have lofty expectations. You told your parents you wanted to be a comedian.
Well, I had a full-time job. I was a producer. You know, I was making good money, had the 401k, all that stuff. And then I started doing comedy classes on the side. And then I started doing comedy for a little bit, but and then COVID came. So then I took like a really long break. When I first told my parents I started doing comedy, they kind of were like, why? Or for what? Or what's the purpose? They didn't really like talk me out of it because it was just a hobby until I quit my job and did it full time. And they were like, what the fuck? Yeah. Because they were like, how are you? Went to college. You got a bachelor's degree. You quit your office job in the city. I had a great office. Like I had the whole 9. I think I was the youngest producer at the company. Like my interns were older than me. It was great. I had 2 interns every semester. Like I was chilling. And then I was like, I'm going to quit this and do comedy and get paid $50 a show.
How do you navigate this as a hijabi? How did you navigate it?
Like with my family or like
both?
The clubs?
It's all.
Well, my family was like, you're retarded. Well, you can't say that word. Just kidding. My family was like, you're dumb. But I was like, no, this is fun. I like it. I enjoy it. I couldn't stand going to the office anymore. Like I always wanted even before I started doing comedy, when I started working at SiriusXM, I loved my job there, but it became a routine, and I never liked a routine. I never liked doing the same thing every day. I decided to be a producer because I was like, oh, this is different, and I could have fun every day at work. And that was the case for a few years, and then it became just like another 9 to 5, and I was like, I can't be asked why I came late to work because I didn't feel like waking up. Like that was my response.
Right,
you know,
right.
I didn't like having a boss.
So it's about following your passion.
Yeah, and it's about just being free more than anything. And
being free, making $50 a night.
The money was dramatically less for a little while. I'm doing okay now, but in the beginning, it was definitely a financial hit for sure.
Yeah.
Comedy, it takes a very long time to get good.
No, but then
and a very long time to start making money.
Anything that you do that's particularly in your passion, you know, we want to make sure everybody knows that it's not an overnight sensation.
No.
Nothing is. And sometimes I know when you watch American Idol or something, you think it's 13 weeks and you're a success. And it takes a long time to be an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't really happen overnight. It takes years to get to that one night.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And a lot of, it's like, you know, to sharpen your skill, it takes a lot of work and effort and passion, and you fall, but after difficulty, it comes ease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So now you're left Sirius.
Yes.
You're doing comedy.
Full time.
You're developing.
Yes.
As a comedian. What happens to introduce boxing?
Okay. That was interesting. So COVID came and I got fat. And I was like, ew. So I wanted to. Sorry, I know this is really mean,
Yo,
but
I know I was looking at you like, I was like, what? That box? You became an amateur boxer because you got fat during COVID?
so all the gyms were
Even the engineers laughing. Like, yo,
It's not
isn't
like
that
this-
like kind of extreme?
It's not like this philosophical story of like how I got bullied when I was younger and I came back. I wish that was the case. That's not the case. I wish I got bullied when I was younger because my story would be incredible. Like hijabi gets bullied in high school, grows up, becomes amateur.
I had all these ideas in my mind. I was like, yeah, her dad taught her when she was little just because she was a hijabi.
I wish I should make up a story though, make it more interesting. The next podcast I go on is gonna be a completely different story. No, so I joined the boxing gym by my apartment because it was the only thing that was open.
Yeah.
And I always loved fights. I always loved the UFC. I always loved watching. I just never in a million years thought I would do it. So then I joined this like little boxing gym by my apartment, and they were like, "You should compete," and I was like, "Okay." And the ball just started rolling, and now I'm in too deep. Like that's literally what happened.
So you've only been COVID was 3 years ago, 4 years
Yeah, I've
ago?
only been like really seriously training for like 2 years.
And how far do you want to go with this? Because you're on the amateur level. I know you
I've
fought like
had-
2 weeks ago.
I had like 5 or 6 fights. I did a tournament called Ring Masters, and I made it to the finals, and the finals was at Madison Square Garden, and then I lost, which I was very upset.
I it's hard for me to hide my expression because I'm like this is the craziest story.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
When I tell you, when I was walking down the ramp to get into the ring at MSG, I looked over at my coach and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And he was like, "Shut up." He was like, "Go in there and fight." I was like, "Well, I have no choice. They're calling my name. Like, we're at Madison Square Garden.
Well, you did have
There's thousands of people
you
here.
You did have a choice. You could have left.
No, I can't do that. I wasn't too deep. I had to do it. I signed up for that super tournament. I made it to the finals, and then I lost.
But
You know
what was the catalyst like outside of being fat during COVID? Like you took it to a whole nother level.
It was just a lot of fun, honestly. Like, I've never been in a fight ever in my life outside of a ring. So, like, the first time I sparred, my coach at the time was like, "You need to get a helmet, you need to get a mouthpiece." I was like, wait, we have to hit each other? Like, I couldn't fathom, like, and then I got punched square in the face for the first time. And I was like, "Oh, that's not that bad. People are so dramatic. Like, it's really not that big of a deal."
Dan's laughing too. This is crazy.
I was like, "Oh, that's what it, oh, okay, bet." And I just hit her back, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
But you're a woman. Like you don't want to get punched in the face.
No, I try not to, but when it happens, it's like not that deep.
It's not okay. How did your parents feel about this?
So they hated the comedy, and then when I started boxing, comedy became great, and they were like, "Stop the boxing." So now they're like super supportive of the comedy. They're like, "Just do the comedy. Like, what are you doing? You're gonna get brain damage." I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Where do you want to go with the boxing?
So when I first started to compete, I was like, I want to go pro. But then when I started to compete, I realized how hard it is and that I kind of suck. So I was like, I don't know now. I am just having a lot of fun with it.
But
I do want to get better.
Nina, you you could get hurt.
I've been injured. I've had cracked ribs. I've had to get my teeth redone.
So
I've had concussions.
Like you have a show Friday night and box Thursday
with bloody lip. I had 2 fights ago. I had a photo shoot the next day, and my lip was all fucked up. I had to Photoshop all the photos and stuff. I was like, sorry.
Well,
I had a fight yesterday. I don't know what to tell you.
I'll be with you.
Yes, thank you. I honestly, boxing became a hobby that got out of control.
Way out of control.
Yeah. I ended up at Madison Square Garden. I was like, "Oh fuck!"
But listen,
I just wanted to lose some weight.
I've watched you train.
Yeah.
And you're good. You have good
Boxing
footwork.
is really, really, really hard.
You have good footwork. You have good right left combos.
Yeah.
I
have great coaches.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jose and Susan. They're fantastic.
So I'm not, shout out to Nina because
Thank you.
you're doing it now. Okay, let's go back to comedy.
Comedy is definitely my long-term goal. Like, I'm not going to be boxing when I'm like trying to have a family. You know what I'm like? It's for fun right now. And but boxing is, I mean, comedy is definitely something I want to do, like,
Listen,
as a career.
I've seen you.
I will not be the next Layla Ali.
But in terms of comedy, you're funny. Not
Thank
only
you.
are you funny, but I love how you handle hecklers.
Yeah, I get heckled a
You
lot.
get heckled a lot. What? Hijab? Because of the hijab?
I also get heckled a lot by like perverts, though.
Why? Why do you think?
Because I think they've never had a chance to talk to someone like who wears a hijab, so now they feel like they have free range to like shout things at me because I'm a
It's like
comedian.
Twitter fingers in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you handle it well.
Thank you.
Every
I try.
time I've seen you, like, you knock them down. And sometimes you beat them up so bad verbally that
Yeah,
they
I'm
leave.
kind of a bitch.
Yeah. No, but you have to defend yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get you to talk about that experience because when you're heckled, like, I've seen some, black comedians
I mean,
like,
I definitely post the highlight reels of the heckling and the good ones, but I've had heckles that like that weren't funny. I didn't handle it in a funny way. Like, it got weird, it got tense. The security threw them out. Like, it's not always. I don't always handle it that well. I definitely post the times I do, though. I've had people get upset. I've had I do a joke where I say Donald Trump is my type because he's like rich and powerful and stuff. And I've had girls in the audience, like liberals, get upset at me. I've said stuff politically that made audience members fight with other audience members, and it kind of.
But that's what a good comedian does.
Yeah, but a good comedian also controls the room.
Well, you learn,
and sometimes it gets out of control.
Yeah, but that's cool. You'll learn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Yeah, if you want to beat yourself up, you can do it in the ring.
Hecklers can be fun though, especially when they're drunk.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. Like, I've seen people like D.L. Hughley. Like, you don't want to heckle him.
Oh no,
you just
don't want to even breathe the wrong way in a D.L. Hughley show.
You don't want to do that because he'll no.
Yeah.
And there's old school guy, which probably you don't know this guy, Robin Harris.
Of course.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but
yeah. But back in the day, you go to one of his shows and he eats you alive.
Yeah.
Eat you alive, and don't even think about heckling. You know what I'm saying?
Or like comics like Godfrey.
Yeah, Godfrey. Godfrey is another one that you just don't.
He's a master of the craft.
And he's a master of voice to technique and everything like that. He's a friend of yours.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah. How'd that happen?
I met him at SiriusXM. He had a radio show on the Comedy Channel. I produced for the politics side of SiriusXM, but we sat close to each other, like by the offices. And he was like, "Oh, you're funny. You should come on my radio show sometimes as a guest." And I would just go on with him. And
So
we would, like,
this
talk
is
to callers.
before you.
This was long before I did comedy.
Right. So
then I
talked
told
to him about
Yeah.
becoming a comedian. How did it go?
I was like, "Godfrey, I want to do comedy," and he was like, "It's a lot harder than you think." And I was like, "Yeah, we'll see." And then I did an open mic, and I saw him the next day, and he was like, "How'd it go?" And I was like, "It was terrible. Like, no one laughed. It was," and he was like, "I told you it's hard." And then I started doing comedy classes, and he didn't take me seriously until a few years later when he saw that I was really doing it. Because, most comedians, they either quit or they don't really keep up or they're not consistent. I think he thought I was going to be one of those people. But now that he sees that I'm doing it full time, I think there's another level of respect he has for me and my commitment to comedy.
You consider him a mentor?
Yeah. He really teaches me a lot. He talks to me a lot about just how to do it, what to expect, how hard it is to respect the craft, and things like that. I've opened for him a few times. It was
You've
it was
opened
a full
for a
circle
lot
moment.
of great comedians.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. Did I recently see you open for Bassem Youssef?
Yes. Were you at the PAC Center?
No, but I was there in spirit. You know what I mean?
Okay. We'll just pretend you were.
Yeah, I was about to do that, but I said, yeah, this is the.
So funny enough, I met Bassem at SiriusXM because I used to book him. And then like a few years later, I was like, "Hey, I do comedy now." And he was like, "What the hell?"
I admire him so much because
Yeah.
I started following him when he was in Egypt.
Oh
you
wow,
know,
that's
way
back
back,
when.
you know, because I don't know how I came across it. Maybe it was on Jon Stewart show or something, you know. But just if you go back, like in many respects, um, being a black man, black Muslim, I can now when I view a lot of things that's happening within the Muslim community at large, right? It reminds me of us because you guys are, I should say you guys, we collectively are having a lot of firsts, you
Yeah.
know. And he was like the first Muslim comedian I knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're really the first Muslim comedian, Muslim woman comedian
Yeah.
that I know, you know, that I know. That's why I'm so excited to
Oh,
have you
thank
on the
you.
show because just that being the first, you know, and I know you're very popular. How does that feel?
It's a lot of pressure, and I wish I wasn't the first. Especially like my coach, like telling me that I'm the first hijabi to fight at a huge venue like MSG. I was like, I wish I was like the third or fourth because it's just too much pressure. Especially that I lost. I was like, oh fuck, I was the first and it didn't go the way it was supposed to go. You know, like it's definitely a lot of added pressure to like kind of pave the way and to like represent everyone the way they want to be represented. And they put a lot of pressure on me to be like this perfect Muslim, and I'm so not. And no one is.
And that's facts. But this is what one of the.
But they want. I think everyone wants me to be what their version of what a Muslim is, and I just can't make everyone happy. You know.
But for one of the reasons that we have this show, the Oasis, is because for the majority of people on the planet, there's this Muslim man that lives in their head that you never met, that I never met. It's this guy that they think he just terrorizes the world, like that. But in many respects, we're people as, particularly with this generation, because we're striving to break cultural norms, you know. And I'm just excited that you're one of those people, you know, that you're breaking cultural norms. And there'll be others that come behind you. That's why we're talking about your path so that hopefully somebody out there will have an easier way. Because when she goes to Madison Square Garden, she'll say, well, you know, Nina did this.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, I'm not going to.
Knock the bitch
There
out.
you go.
I said it, not you.
So listen, so many great comedians became great actors.
Yeah.
You know, we can Robert Downey Jr., Charlie Chaplin, Jackie Gleason, Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. I hope so.
So you're beginning to act.
I am looking at classes. I'm actually shout out to Harry Hall. He's putting me in my first movie next month in LA.
Shout out to Harry Hall.
I'm
Great
very
friend.
excited. Yeah, I definitely that's my next stepping stone that I want to get to, and hopefully that starts to happen soon.
When you do acting, have you thought about do you want to play the role or do you want to play the role with your hijabi?
Oh well, so
with your
here's the
hijab,
thing,
I'm sorry.
When it comes to acting, I kind of want to play just a regular person who just happens to be Muslim, you know, like I don't want my story to always be I'm Muslim and like sure I'm Muslim and all that, but I'm also just a regular person. And I feel like we need to normalize the hijab more.
Absolutely.
And if I could get a role on a TV show where I'm just the lead character's best friend, or I play a babysitter or a real estate agent, or, you know, just regular things that regular people have. And hijabis are regular people. Like, I just want to play a normal female role, you know?
You know,
it doesn't always necessarily need to be like the main point of my character doesn't always have to be a hijabi Muslim or the terrorist's wife, like on Homeland and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Absolutely. Do you see yourself navigating Hollywood? Do you see yourself as a writer? Do you see yourself in other? When I say navigating Hollywood, I meant writing, producing, directing. Or you just?
Yes, I definitely have 2 pilots that I wrote. I'm gonna actually start next month pitching them around. They're both very funny, and I'm not saying that because I wrote them, but they're both very funny.
Can you tell us about them?
No, not yet. If they get picked up and stuff like that, I'll definitely.
Respect.
One is a little autobiography vibes, and one is just total sitcom.
So a hijabi from Jersey that boxes and tell jokes.
No, not the boxing part, but the hijabi who works in a news station.
That's funny already.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spinoff of The Office.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then the other pilot is just pure sitcom fiction, and they're both very interesting. They're both very funny, and hopefully I'll be on Netflix or Hulu or HBO Max in a year or two. That's really where my goal is.
Paving the way for other hijabis to come behind you.
And and both shows, they're just regular people who have regular jobs and regular lives.
Well, Harry Hall is her manager. Great manager, great friend to the room. So I'm certain that he can help you with that.
He knows a few people.
And a few people.
He knows a few people that know a few people. I know a few people.
So what's next? I know we talked about a lot, but I can hear you thinking from here. There's the whole lot going on outside of what we talked about.
Yeah. What's next for me? Definitely I need to step up my comedy game. Keep doing it. I'm just learning, trying to get better. I know this game takes a long time. I want to improve my writing, my perform everything. I want to get to a point where I'm as good as Godfrey, or I'm as good as people that I admire, and I definitely have a long way to go, but I'm working at it every weekend. So hopefully that comes.
I got a game that I want to play with you.
Ooh, I love games.
We're going to play a lightning round.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to say a word, and you're going to say the first word that comes to your head.
You're setting me up. I'm going to get canceled.
Do not.
I'm going to say something racist. Or
it's impossible for you to get canceled. There's 1.5.
I stay getting canceled.
1.5 million Muslims in New York City. There's 4 million Muslims in America, and there's 2 billion of us in the world.
We're taking over.
Yeah, there you go.
We're gonna make him convert.
By 20,
we're gonna make the engineer convert.
He's been thinking about it. He loves the shows that I do.
He's been thinking about it. I could tell.
You can hear him thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
He said "Salam alaikum" when I walked in.
Oh my goodness. We got him. First word that comes to your head. Don't give me a sentence.
Okay.
All right. I got 10.
This is a trap.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
Amy Schumer.
Hate her.
I know. See, you violated the rules already.
Zionist.
Okay. One word.
Zionist.
Dating.
The word horrible.
You almost gave me 2 words.
Horrible.
One word.
All right.
One word.
One word.
Muhammad Ali.
Goat.
Mahmoud Darwish.
Brilliant.
We're getting this is good. This is
I'm
good.
getting
You're
the hang
getting the hang of it. Yeah.
Give me the Amy Schumer one again.
Amy.
Do it again. I have another word.
Amy Schumer.
Pig. My bitch. Just kidding. I said
the engineer is on the floor, ladies and gentlemen. He's
also Amy Schumer hates me, so
okay.
She started it.
You're gonna finish it, I'm sure. Dabka.
Fun.
For all of you that don't know what it is, DABKA. Look it up. Match me abroad.
Interesting.
I wish we could talk about that, but
we could totally talk about that.
Okay, I'll get back to that. Beyonce.
Excellence.
Damn, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Dave Chappelle.
Genius.
He's good. Fire.
Resistance.
She's a comedian, she's a boxer, and she's brilliant. Ryan Garcia.
Hilarious.
Wait.
Did you see him growling at Devin? He was growling. It was so hot.
He got in his head. He got in his head.
It was incredible.
He really did. He got in his head.
Did you see the clip where Devin was like, I don't think Ryan's taking this fight seriously?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
oh no. He was sleeping on him though. It's his coach's
got in
fault.
his head.
Yeah.
He got in his head, Nina. And that's the unfortunate part of it, because
It was a
boxing
great fight.
is I used to box for to get in shape, but not like you. So, but boxing is mental and physical.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's like 70% mental.
Yeah, and he got in his head.
Yeah.
You know, and anyway, that's our Muslim brother. You know, Devin.
Yeah.
Okay, hip hop culture.
The future.
Why?
I think hip hop culture paves the way for just culture in general in this country. I think whether people want to admit it or not, like hip hop culture kind of is responsible for what's mainstream. You know?
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's hard. Like when we made records in the past, and like 20 years later, is, you know, to see what these bitches want. You know, like as popular as it is later, 20 years later, it's great. Okay, my last one, because you got me to reflect.
Okay.
Hummus.
Overrated.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just it's done too much. White people took it over and they colonized it. Now it's like not a thing anymore. You know? White people go to white people. They colonize everything.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
They make chocolate hummus. You're like, that's not a thing.
No,
Stop.
it's not. But it was such like whenever I go to an Arab or Middle Eastern country, it's
I still eat it,
yeah.
but I just feel like
But
it's a little overrated.
it's been colonized. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, food can be colonized too.
Hell yeah.
Like sometimes when you go uptown to some restaurants that used to be very spicy,
Yeah.
the part of Harlem that got gentrified, it's no longer spicy. You know?
Yeah.
Food is like bland.
Super bland.
Super bland. Colonized food. I like that. You know, we better, you know, copyright that.
Colonized?
Yeah, colonized food. All right. My last question to you, and I know we could talk all night, but unfortunately, what message do you have for young Muslim women? Want to be like you or be other than what their parents?
Just do it. I know that sounds so cliche and so
you
overdone.
gotta elaborate though.
You just gotta do it. Like everyone's always like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, are you making strides towards that? Or what are you need to work every single day towards whatever goal it is you have. Like if you're not working at it every single day, it's never gonna come. So you really just have to like make yourself a plan of like, this is my goal. What do you need to do in order to get to that goal? And you just gotta do it. Like I knew I wanted to be a good comedian. So I was like, I need to take classes. I need to try. I need to write more. I need to like, I took the steps that were necessary in order to achieve that goal. You know, my goal is still not achieved, but I'm working towards it. I'm doing it. You have to do it.
Yeah, and you're doing great. Well, thank you
you
so much for being a part of the Oasis, because we want to show people who are breaking cultural barriers, and you definitely are. And I'm so happy to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm very
Likewise.
proud of you, you know, in terms of your accomplishments. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in LA. Tell everybody about what's getting ready to come up.
I will be in LA coming up for Netflix's A Joke Festival. I have a ton of shows. Follow me on all socials. I'll keep you guys updated.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Nina, who's managed my dear friend Harry Hall. Got to give a shout out to Harry Hall. And please Follow the Oasis on all social media platforms. Look forward to seeing you next week. Got a shout out to my extraordinary producer, Jaslyn Porter, who I call Quincy Jazz, and our engineer, Remy. Good night.